guys, this is Tor from TC here with Stephen Carpenter at the 2017 NAMM show.
What's happening?
Amazing guitar player from Deftones. In case you guys didn't know, I'm sure you did.
We throwing that around loosely.
Yeah. So just basically wanted to catch up with you and talk a little about what the band is up to and what you've been doing lately and things like that.
I've been on break for the last month and a half. We finished a tour through Australia and ended in Hawaii in November, and now we're on break. I say break, we're just doing other stuff that's not on tour, but that'll be through mid-April, and then we start back up again do a run through Europe, and then come back, do another run, I believe.
It's the festival season, I guess.
I don't know if this, I mean, I would imagine we're going to do some festivals while we're there, but I think it's, part headlining, for us as well as the festivals.
Okay, cool. And what about writing? Have you plans on going in the studio again, or?
Yeah, we'll be in the studio at some point. Actually, there's no window that we have blotted out on the calendar or anything like that right now. But just playing, just noodling around, like I said, just goofing around, trying to let things come in. It's as a guitar player myself personally, everything I listen to exceeds my personal ability. So I go to want to do what I love. I'm like, oh damn. All right.
So speaking of guitar playing, how did you start playing? How old were you? What were kind of like your influences back in?
I was really, the big four in metal was what I was really influenced by, in the early to mid '80s, and that was really, just metal was predominantly what I enjoyed. But I've always listened to just about anything. I've never had any kind of music where I'm like, oh God. I mean, I might have joked or said stuff about it, but I was young and dumb, so that's the way that goes. But generally, I can find some excitement in just about most music.
Yeah. By the way, last time we met up, you basically gave me an enormous long list of all these cool bands. There are some really good ones among them, so thanks for that. Yeah. I've been checking out a lot of those bands.
Oh, excellent.
So before we also talked a little bit about gear, and you've been using the 2290 for a long time.
I was using it for a long time, but that was definitely like I said, for me, I've been really, very simple about things, and the 2290 for me was always, like I said, I walked into studios everywhere when I was young, and just it's always been the thing that stood out, and I was like, I gotta have that in my guitar rig, man, put it in there when I could get one day, and then I got it, and then I never really used it even remotely to its potential. I had maybe like about 5 presets in there, and it was mainly I really liked it because I loved the pristine clarity of it, and like I said, I could get an extra nice long delay at that time. I felt like it was the longest delay I could find, but maybe there was something else. I didn't search high and low either, so
it's pretty long at least. So, we talked about the guitar, by the way. I have to mention that when did you start getting into 7 strings and then later 8 strings? Was that an early thing as well, or?
I was all from the beginning. I was always 6 strings. I actually shunned. I used to I'd be like never 7 string, and then that was all through the 90s. And late 90s is when I first got into Meshuggah. Yeah. And then once I realized they were killing it on 7 strings, I was like, that's it. I think the decision is made. Went to the 7 instantly, and after that. Right after I'd gotten into the 7 string, which was I want to say like right around 2000 when I got my first one, started playing it pretty regularly, and then the like early 2000s, that's when Meshuggah came out and busted out their 8 string sound. I was like, oh man,
here it goes again.
Well, I wasn't making decisions based on what they were doing. It was what made me do it based on obviously picking that up from them was that I had shunned the 7 for my entire existence up until that point, and at that point the 8 was I'd say entirely brand new. Far as my perspective was in my metal background, I wasn't familiar with anything like that before. I'm sure it was like around in classical or something like that, but in metal, it's just like, oh, damn. And I was like, well, you know what? There's not a lot of people out there doing that right now. I think I want to jump in on that while it's still early.
Yeah.
And go have some fun there.
Yeah.
I definitely can't do what, the dudes that I love that use it and all that, but I don't really care.
No, and it's, it sounds great when you play it. And did you find that you had to change your playing style much for that, or is it just another string?
Another string, because my playing style is pretty simple, and I'm just following up to the top. But the hardest thing, I'm lucky because when I went from 6 to 7, I did the exact same thing. I got stuck playing all on the 7th string all the time, and forgot that there was the other 6 there.
Yeah.
So when I first went to the 8, I got stuck on the 8th string. I'm not even noticing the bottom. Took a minute, but not as long as it did from going to 6 to 7. I was like, all right, get back on all the other ones.
Yeah.
Start learning how to get in and out of it all more.
Yeah. So your bass player, does he tune down to fit the lowest string, or how does that?
No, we have. I feel like we struggle in the tuning department, but not literally struggling. But I wish that his register could match, the same thing. But we're basically on the same levels.
Yeah. So
when I'm on the 8, that is.
It's a question. I asked a couple of both 7 and 8 string players whether they consider the lowest string an E string, or they actually consider it an F sharp or whatever it's tuned to.
Mm-hmm.
So do you?
Well, I'm technically E.
So it is an E.
This one is because
so you drop it down.
This is a drop tune down to E.
So it is an E.
Yeah, and I got that from Tosin and Javier and Animals.
Yeah.
When I first met those guys, they're like, "Oh man, we're in drop. You should check that out." I was like, "Oh, why not? Let's go for it." It's all exciting and new for me. So I have, on my 8 strings, I have both the drop E and the F sharp.
Oh yeah. Cool. So, well, thanks so much for taking the time to explain a little bit about the gear and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
So
thank you.
Really cool.